Hello everyone, and welcome to my Update US Gossip channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. After quitting Kody Brown, Janelle Brown flaunts an incredible new appearance. Sister Wives star Janelle Brown recently posted a photo of herself looking stunning, and it's clear that she's ready to move on from Kody Brown. 55-year-old Janelle was Kody's second wife. She was also the second of his wives to walk away from the polygamist family in recent years. Kody had 4 wives and 18 children, but by the time Sister Wives season 19 premiered, he was in an unintentionally monogamous marriage with his 4th and youngest wife, 45-year-old Robyn Brown. Janelle has moved on with her life, and she has never looked better. The Sister Wives season 19 star and Kody had always appeared to be stable, but in 2022, she left him. 6 children had been born to them after 29 years of marriage. Leaving her plural family was a complicated choice, and her journey so far hasn't been much easier. Janelle had to deal with some financial realities as well as the death of her eldest son, Garrison Brown, who was 25 years old when he passed away in March 2024. Though Janelle's pain is still fresh, she's made positive moves in her life. She moved to North Carolina and started a dream business. She also lost weight and looks amazing. Recently, Janelle shared a picture of herself all dressed up on Instagram. The Sister Wives season 19 star recently wore a glamorous velvet gown to a ritzy fundraiser. My friend at April Rains and her husband had an extra ticket for a fundraiser this weekend in Raleigh, reads her caption. Getting dressed up and going out for a good cause was fun. Janelle lives and works on a farm these days, so this was way outside the box for the single mother. She's moving on from her polygamist ex-husband. Janelle and Christine's relationship is strong. While they were married to Kody, Janelle and Christine Brown, 52, were not close. Despite belonging to the same family, the Sister Wives season 19 cast members had very different personalities. In 2021, Christine was the first of Kody's wives to walk away from the marriage. They became close as they rebuilt their lives together because Janelle was the second. They even spent the first few holidays together, surrounded by their children. These days, Janelle and Christine even travel together. They both recently won cruises for their work with the health and fitness company Plexus. Christine shared a carousel of photos on Instagram, and many familiar faces were there, including Christine's husband, David Woolley, and her daughter, Michael T. Padrone. Christine's long caption reads, in part, I loved finally seeing a Janelle Brown 117 again. Still my #sisterwife forever. The Sister Wives cast members will always have a strong connection. Is Janelle ready to start dating? On the Sibling Revelry podcast, Janelle was recently asked about her romantic relationships. The Sister Wives season 19 star said she had no intention of ever getting married again, nor did she even have plans to date. I am done, she said, adding, I love my single life. However, she went on to say that if something presented itself, she would take it into consideration. She might be more open to falling in love once more after spending more time apart from Kody. It will be interesting to see if Janelle decides to try monogamy this time around or continue her polygamous relationships. By 2024, Sister Wives star Meri Brown had become emblematic of resilience in the face of systemic disrespect, culminating in her bold decision to sever ties with Kody Brown, her spiritual and legal husband of over 3 decades. Her journey, marked by public humiliation, emotional neglect, and a final act of self-advocacy, offers a stark indictment of the patriarchal dynamics that plagued their polygamous union. Here, we unpack Meri's pivotal revelation of Kody's disrespect over her request for a formal marital dissolution, the fallout of their fractured relationship, and her emergence as a symbol of empowerment. The breaking point, Meri's request for a spiritual release. In October 2024, Meri publicly disclosed her decision to seek an official release from the Apostolic United Brethren, AUB, the fundamentalist Mormon church that sanctified her marriage to Kody. This request, made after years of emotional estrangement, was met with silence from Kody, who ghosted her when she texted him for input. The AUB granted the release on grounds of abandonment, a designation Meri accepted despite Kody's likely objections. 13. Mary framed this moment as a triumph, declaring, "I'm no longer married to Kody, legally or spiritually one." The decision symbolized her refusal to remain tethered to a one-sided relationship, where Kody had long weaponized indifference to manipulate her into leaving first. As she revealed in a confessional, "He wanted me to be the one to leave so he could say, 'My hands are clean.'" 3. The church's ruling validated her grievances, exposing Kody's failure to uphold marital obligations despite his later half-hearted regret. "I wish I'd figured out my feelings sooner." 3. A pattern of disrespect, emotional neglect and public humiliation. Kody's disregard for Mary was not isolated but part of a decades-long pattern. Their marriage, which began in 1990, deteriorated rapidly after Kody legally divorced Mary in 2014 to marry Robyn Brown, his fourth wife, and adopt her children. 5. Mary's inability to bear more children after their only child, Leon, became a source of resentment for Kody, who openly favored wives with larger broods. 15. By 2022, their relationship had devolved into a platonic facade, with Kody admitting to faking their bond and withholding intimacy for over a decade. 5. Publicly, Kody demeaned Mary's worth, suggesting she move into a barn and dismissing her contributions to the family. 6. Privately, he weaponized emotional neglect, as seen in his 2011 threat to treat her horribly for 20 years as retribution for perceived slights. 1. This toxic dynamic left Mary isolated, with even family members like Kody's nephew Ben Brown condemning his behavior as disgusting. 6. Robyn's role and the erosion of boundaries. Mary's revelations also implicated Robyn Brown, Kody's fourth wife, in the erosion of their marriage. Though Mary initially allied with Robyn, their friendship frayed as Robyn repeatedly violated marital boundaries. As early as 2013, Mary disclosed that Robyn would intrude on her designated time with Kody, spending hours at her home under the guise of companionship. 7. This behavior, coupled with Robyn's influence over Kody, exacerbated Mary's marginalization. Robyn's advice to Mary, to wait on God for reconciliation, proved hollow, as Kody later admitted he had no intention of reviving their relationship. 3. Fans noted Robyn's hypocrisy, with one Redditor observing, "She knew she couldn't do that with Janelle and Christine. She shouldn't have been doing it to Mary either." 7. Fan backlash and the question of complicity. For years, viewers questioned why Mary endured Kody's mistreatment. Some attributed her loyalty to religious indoctrination or fear of losing her family. 5. Others pointed to the 2015 catfish scandal, where Mary was manipulated by a woman posing as a man, which Kody weaponized to paint her as untrustworthy. 5. Mary herself admitted staying out of a misplaced sense of duty. "This is my family. I don't want to leave." 5. However, her 2024 decision to seek a spiritual release marked a turning point. Fans celebrated her courage, with one supporter noting, "Mary's finally prioritizing herself after 30 years of sacrifices." 1. Her defiance contrasted sharply with Kody's petulant declaration that he'd wasted years married to the wrong person, a remark Mary countered with biting clarity. "What sucks is marrying the wrong person and not having the decency to tell her until 32 years later." 1. Mary's rebirth, entrepreneurship, advocacy, and boundaries. Post-split, Mary has reinvented herself as a beacon of independence. She runs Lizzie's Heritage Inn, a Utah bed and breakfast, and champions self-worth through her #WorthyUp campaign. 13. Her social media brims with affirmations like "Greatness begins today," reflecting her commitment to authenticity. 1. She has also set firm boundaries, refusing to let Kody walk her down the aisle if she remarries and mocking his height in discussions about her ideal partner. "I prefer a tall guy, too." This newfound assertiveness extends to defending her transgender child, Leon, against online bigotry, stating, "Don't use their dead name. That's not nice." 9. Legacy of a fractured union. Mary's story underscores the perils of polygamy's patriarchal structures, where women's worth is often tied to fertility and compliance. Her journey, from a shamed first wife to an unapologetic entrepreneur, resonates as a parable of liberation. As she declared in 2024, "The peace and freedom that come with letting go is empowering." 1. For Kody, the fallout has been less redemptive. Isolated with Robyn and criticized by fans and family alike, his legacy is one of mismanaged relationships and unchecked ego. Meanwhile, Mary's narrative, like those of ex-wives Christine and Janelle, redefines sisterhood not as shared subjugation but as collective resilience. By 2024, Sister Wives star Meri Brown had become a symbol of resilience and sacrifice within the polygamous Brown family, but one of her lesser-discussed acts of devotion, breastfeeding a sister wife's child, resurfaced in public discourse, reigniting debates about communal motherhood, emotional labor, and the fraught dynamics of plural marriage. Mary's admission, first mentioned in early seasons of the TLC series, offered a poignant glimpse into the blurred boundaries of sisterhood, her unfulfilled longing for more children, and the quiet tragedies of a family structure built on uneven compromises. The revelation, "I nursed another wife's baby." During a 2012 episode of Sister Wives, Meri revealed she had breastfed one of her sister wives' infants, though the child's identity remains unspecified. The moment, briefly mentioned in passing, underscored the practical and emotional interdependence of the Brown family's early polygamous years. "When you're in a plural family, you help each other out," Meri explained, framing the act as a natural extension of their shared lives. While she did not disclose logistical details, e.g., whether she induced lactation or had recently given birth herself, the admission highlighted the intense intimacy of their arrangement, even as it raised eyebrows among viewers unfamiliar with polygamous cultural norms. For Meri, the decision carried profound emotional weight. As the only Brown wife with one child, her daughter Leon, born in 1995, she had long grappled with infertility and the societal pressure to expand her family within a culture that equates motherhood with spiritual worth. Breastfeeding another wife's baby allowed her to experience a facet of motherhood denied to her after Leon's birth, but it also deepened her grief. In later seasons, she confessed, "I wanted a house full of kids. It's something I'll always mourn." Cultural context, polygamy, communal care, and female labor. Mary's choice reflects broader practices in some fundamentalist Mormon communities, where sister wives often share childcare duties, including breastfeeding. This tradition, termed cross-nursing, is typically rooted in necessity, such as a mother's medical inability to nurse, but also reinforces the principle of collective childrearing central to plural marriage theology. For the Browns, who belonged to the Apostolic United Brethren (AUB), before leaving the faith in 2011, such acts symbolized their commitment to a united family identity. However, the emotional ramifications of this shared motherhood were rarely addressed on the show. While wives like Janelle and Christine, who each had 6 children with Kody, leaned on Meri for childcare, Mary's role as a secondary nurturer often left her feeling sidelined. In her 2022 memoir, Becoming Sister Wives, Christine acknowledged this imbalance. "Meri helped with all our kids, but we didn't always see how hard it was for her. Unspoken resentments, fertility, favoritism, and fractured bonds." Mary's infertility became a silent fault line in the family. Kody Brown, who initially vowed to never give up on expanding Mary's family, gradually withdrew emotionally as she faced miscarriages and failed fertility treatments. His growing closeness to Robyn, his 4th wife, who joined the family in 2010 and quickly bore 2 children, exacerbated Mary's sense of inadequacy. By 2015, Kody openly admitted he no longer desired a physical relationship with Meri, leaving her in a marital limbo that lasted nearly a decade. Breastfeeding another wife's child thus became a double-edged act, a gesture of love that also underscored Mary's marginalization. Fans speculated that the child in question may have been Robyn's daughter Ariella, born in 2016, as Meri was notably involved in her care during Robyn's high-risk pregnancy. However, neither Meri nor Robyn confirmed this. What remains clear is that Mary's nurturing role became a substitute for the motherhood she craved, a dynamic Kody exploited by encouraging her to find purpose in supporting other wives' kids while neglecting her emotional needs. Fan reactions, selfless or exploitative? The revelation sparked polarized responses. Some viewers praised Mary's selflessness, with one Reddit user noting, "She gave part of herself to a child that wasn't hers, that's true sisterhood." Others criticized the Browns for normalizing Mary's emotional erasure, arguing that cross-nursing masked deeper systemic issues. They used her trauma to fuel their big happy family narrative, wrote a critic on X, formerly Twitter, pointing to the show's tendency to gloss over polygamy's inequities. Meri herself seemed conflicted in retrospect. During a 2023 Q&A, when asked if she'd nurse a sister wife's baby again, she paused before replying, "I don't know. It's complicated. Back then, we did what we thought was right." Her hesitation hinted at unresolved pain, compounded by Kody's later admission that he'd failed Meri by not advocating for her desire to adopt or pursue IVF. The sister-wives divide, contrasting motherhood experiences. Meri's journey diverged sharply from those of her sister-wives. Christine, as the self-described basement wife, she initially bonded with Meri over childcare but later clashed with her as Kody's favoritism toward Robyn grew. Janelle, the pragmatic working wife, she relied on Meri's help with her 6 children but admitted to taking her sacrifices for granted. Robyn, her arrival destabilized the family's equilibrium, with Meri's infertility becoming a painful contrast to Robyn's fertility. By 2022, all 3 original wives had left Kody, leaving Meri to reflect on how their polygamous experiment had exploited her nurturing instincts. "I gave so much of myself to those kids," she said tearfully in a confessional, "but I always felt like an outsider in my own family." Meri's reclamation, from nursing sister wife to empowered entrepreneur. In recent years, Meri has reframed her identity beyond motherhood. She runs Lizzie's Heritage Inn, a successful Utah bed and breakfast, and launched the #WorthyUp campaign to promote self-worth, a direct response to years of being told her value hinged on childbearing. "I'm more than a wife, more than a mother," she declared in a 2024 Instagram post. Her journey resonates with fans navigating infertility or marginalization, with many praising her shift from caretaker to CEO. Yet, the scars of her sacrifices linger. In a raw 2024 interview, she admitted, "Breastfeeding someone else's baby was beautiful, but it also reminded me of what I'd lost. I'll always wonder, what if I'd had more kids?"